made it.
I did make it. Took a little while.
Would you sign Dre downstairs? She started with you at UCLA.
Yes, yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep. She was boxing there too.
She's boxing. She's a national champion, I think.
Yeah.
Collegiate national champion in boxing.
Yeah, so I know she took a class for a little bit, and you know, then I think she started training with one of your black belts.
Right, Mark, correct.
Yeah, and then she sort of, I mean, I followed her on Instagram and, you know, on Facebook, and she just like took off.
Never really cool. Stopped, yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome to watch.
Yeah, and then John Kosnick started with you as well.
Over at, Inosanto Academy. So it's been cool to see a lot of students that have continued on after training, and then, you know, they're like black belts now.
Yeah.
So
I was asking people where they started, and he was like, yeah, Jimmy Tang. I'm like, what? Yeah, really? And then I was like, oh man, I haven't talked to you forever. You know, it's been
a couple years, well, more than a couple years.
Yeah,
shoot.
I mean,
we're just talking about like the Brentwood Club and
COVID kind of, it's like a time warp in a way too.
Yeah, I put everyone back a couple of years.
Yeah, but when I first moved out to LA, I would see you a lot, right, at just different events.
Tournaments, yeah, as many tournaments as I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. How did you get started in jiu-jitsu?
How did I get started in college?
In college, okay.
Well, kind of. So I had a friend who some instructors opened up a Taekwondo class in college. So I took that. I did a little bit in high school. A friend was teaching me, and I had one of my friends there trained Kempo.
Okay.
And
what college did you go to?
I went to Pacific University up in Oregon. So
okay.
It's a really small city called Forest Grove, and my friend was from Hawaii as well, and he was kicking my ass like standing up. So then I just got kind of frustrated and I just tackled him, and then he armbarred me, and he was 135 pounds. I was probably fat 180, and I was like, you can't do that again. Of course, he did it again. I was like, what did you just do? He's all, that's called Jiu-Jitsu. And, you know, I started looking.
Your mind is blown. I
was like, how did this little guy just stretch my arm in a way where he shouldn't be able to?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it all started from there.
In Oregon. What year was that?
Ooh, 2001.
2001.
2001,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then where are you from?
I grew up in Hawaii. Actually, was born in Taiwan. Moved to Hawaii when I was really young.
Born in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then Hawaii, you know, when I was really young, and then grew up in Hawaii, and then college in Oregon, and moved to LA.
What brought you to LA?
I was looking for work, and then at the same time, I was about 8 months into jiu-jitsu, and they're like, you know, my instructors up there were their lineage was Machados.
Okay.
So then they're like, oh, you know, down in, you know, South Bay, Torrance, you know, there's Higan Machado and all the brothers are there. And I was like, okay, if I'm looking for work, my sister lived here at the time.
Perfect.
Let's go look for it.
Nice. And so when you first came to LA, you moved down you were in the South Bay?
No, my sister was in West LA. So kind of actually pretty much the last time we trained.
You've always been in West LA?
No, that was the first place I landed. And I ended up in the Valley for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, so, you know, the internet was not, high-speed internet was not a thing. So, you know, you'd be dialing in and looking around. And so there was Hickson's school. You know, there was John Machado's school. And Hickson's was the closest to me.
Oh, okay.
They kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with some not so nice comments about visitors. So, you know, I called up John's school, and they was like, oh, come on in.
At Hickson's when you went to Hickson's back in the day.
Hickson's,
those are kind of earlier days, right?
Yeah, so they weren't so
professional.
Not nice comments, so, if you will. And then John, you know, trained with me, and I'd never trained with a black belt at that point, and just it's like, wow. You know, I mean, I was a white belt. You probably couldn't tell the difference, like, between me and, you know, a blue belt. But me training with him, I was just like, I had not been beaten in such a gentle way, I think, up to that point. You know, previous, like, my instructors were purple belts, and they were crushers, right? The old school, just, like, pressure, grind. Yeah. So, yeah, it was...
What kind of work do you do?
I work in software engineering.
Software engineering? I always thought you were in, like, IT kind of... Computers, yeah.
Yeah.
So software engineering?
Yeah, so I'm a director at a kind of a telco company.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of Boingo.
Yes.
Anytime you
yes.
travel.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's I do all the web applications for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I run
Okay.
the team that does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure we got the internet when we travel, right? On the flights and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we can talk after.
It's tricks. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, man. Like you get unlimited or the 5 minute whatever. How many for $5? You know,
it's changing, right? I think most places are they're all pretty much paid for by the venues, right?
right. That's what usually it should be, right? When you're traveling, you're like you don't have the service internationally, especially, and then it's like, and then the Boingo thing comes up, right?
Yeah, but a lot of the venues will actually pay for it. They sponsor it for you, right?
Through Boingo.
Yeah,
They pay for it. Yeah.
You know, just because it's become almost expected, right? You want internet.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
expected that you have internet if you go to, like, you know, at the airport or wherever you're at while you're waiting. It's become sort of, you know,
Standard. Yeah.
yeah, it's a thing.
It's crazy. Huh? 2001. So 2001, that was like before cell phones. And so how was the jiu-jitsu scene when you moved to LA?
I had never seen so many colored belts that were above blue. You know, like I said, my old school was 2 or 3 purple belts. So it was straight blast gym back in the day. So, you know, they've now kind of split and they're doing their own things. But yeah, so I came here and, you know, I think I'd seen my first brown belt, you know, black belt, and the black belt was teaching. And I was just like, wow, just, you know, I think I learned a lot of, like I saw a lot more of jiu-jitsu. And then, you know, as you kind of get into it and you started trying to, you know, I started trying to compete, you would go to these tournaments and be even more mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
These are small local tournaments and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Drop some of those names of the early jiu-jitsu tournaments here in LA.
Oh, well, it's all OTMs.
OTM.
Like the Cleverest tournaments.
Club Luciano, he's still doing them.
Yeah, is he still doing them? Yeah, see, that's how far I've fallen
What
out.
was it called? Copa Pacifica.
Copa Pacifica. There was Joe Moreira always has some tournaments. Those are the ones. IBJJF, Jean-Jacques Machado had Machado had some tournaments.
He was the first one that did the Nogi tournaments.
Yeah.
In LA, in California.
Yes, I remember. What was it?
It was the grappling games, right?
The grappling games, the World Grappling Games. That's what it was. Yeah. I was a blue belt. I think I was a white belt. I take that back. Yeah, I was a white belt. And I did my first one, I think. Second competition ever, and I think I had a heart attack.
Held your breath the whole time.
Squeezing so hard on nothing, you know.
I think I met you when I was coming out with my New Mexico team, probably. I think I would see you at probably some venues. Maybe we didn't know each other, but
yeah, I'm sure.
I think you were with people that I knew. You were with people that I knew.
I'm
Maybe
sure.
like Felicia or something, you know.
Yeah, I think so. I think like definitely probably the Copa Pacifica tournaments and probably some of the OTM ones, I'd imagine. Yeah, you always came pretty strong. You and I don't even know if he has a team anymore. Is it Gustavo Dantas?
Oh yeah,
He used
Arizona.
To come, he used to come with like some teams too.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, like
Tough dudes.
I used to be kind of envious, right, of like having instructors that would travel with you and like they're showing up at tournaments.
Hungry, right?
And I was like, wow, you know.
We drive for 13, even 16 hours to compete, and then drive back.
Right. And then, you know, we're here in California being like spoiled, right? We drive an hour.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. They're still doing it. You know, my guys back in New Mexico still make those drives.
Yeah, I guess New Mexico doesn't have too many large tournaments, right?
But now,
Vegas.
they go to Vegas for the Master Worlds. Now they have the major ones now, but now there's tournaments there too. So
that's
they don't have
good.
to travel. But
Nice.
back in the day, right, there weren't that many tournaments.
Yep. Back in the day, it would be either I would remember just California. What did they have pans in Santa Barbara, Florida, and then like would have Gustavo's tournaments. I remember in Arizona.
We traveled to Gustavo Johnson's tournaments
And Brian Simmons.
Grappler's Quest,
and Nagas.
That's where I would see you too.
Yeah.
What are some of the names you remember from your early days?
Early days, jiu-jitsu people, Javier Vasquez, it was you. I remember reading about you beating him, huge controversy because it was Southern California. They were like, oh, man, can't believe Javi lost. And, you know.
Yeah, he only lost to like BJ Penn and stuff, right? He like smashed everybody. He would smash everybody.
Yeah, so it was kind of a thing. So that's actually the first time I heard your name. Who else was big back then? You know, obviously the Gracies. You had Mark Lehman driving around, screaming at the
yeah.
tournaments, yelling at people.
He was always there, man.
Yes, yeah, he
Super
was.
loud. Him and Clever.
Yeah, clever. Yeah, clever was always around. He was always around. Even what's his name? Is it Mario Aiello from
Okay.
Hickson's?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching him. I remember all the Hickson guys. I remember one guy. I don't
Was he
remember-
competing or Ariel?
No, he would just be screaming on the sidelines.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
just like shoot. Sometimes he'd have a. I remember one time I saw him with a knee brace, and his guy was doing something he didn't want him to do, and he was screaming, and I was watching him. He got so upset he like sprawled onto like the gym floor. I was like, "Do you have like this knee?"
He was
brace?"
loud. He was loud.
Very passionate.
Yeah. I remember him from back when I was in Brazil, living in Brazil, and then like in late '90s. Yeah, he was coaching his guys, and always super loud.
Yeah, you
He
knew he
brought the
was
same
there.
energy over here.
Yeah, I mean,
But Mark Lehman was always like messing with the flow.
yeah, he was always there. I mean, you know, these like Americans were like there was like the American push at the time, right? There's a Frangina was up in-
Frangina, yeah,
yeah,
Frangina.
from Santa Barbara would come down. You know, he had Jeff Glover,
Jeff Glover,
and Cooper.
behind you, right?
Yeah, you got Glover,
shout out.
You got Cooper.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the the other Tyrone Glover, the
Tyrone
other
Glover,
Tyrone
yeah.
Glover.
yeah. He went to Colorado, went to law school there.
He disappeared for a bit, and I think came back and like still was killing it for a little bit, and
Yeah,
don't know, he got bored, maybe got busy.
I guess. Yeah, they were just saying like he's just so smart, so talented. You know that everything that he does, that he would just get bored because he'd just beat everybody.
I don't
At
know.
whatever he did, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed really good.
Yeah.
I was watching super athletic, right?
Yeah, yeah. He would do that diving footlock,
Footlock.
Yeah,
Yep.
that toe hold.
Yeah, he'd catch it, a lot of people with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he beat a lot of top guys. The top guys, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of guys. Lovato, you remember Lovato?
Lovato was, I think he was already out in Oklahoma at the time, so I think I'd only see him at the big tournaments.
Okay.
I think he was always really good, but then I felt like when he switched to Solo's team, then it
Elevated.
changed levels, and then he started winning like I think at black belt the bigger tournaments, or started placing. Yeah. Yeah, I never trained with him. Him and who do you used to bring with him? Justin Rader.
Justin Rader, yeah.
Yeah.
They closed the division, I think, at the black belt, the Nogi, maybe.
At the Absolute?
Oh yeah, at the Absolute, maybe. I don't know. How did they close the division?
Because Rader was...
Or maybe they both won.
Yeah, because Rader was always a featherweight.
Oh yeah, so maybe they just both won their divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we used to grind. Huh? We used to bring a squad from New Mexico
Yeah. I mean, that was always...
for a lot of years.
always
Vegas.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's like 20 years ago.
Is that how long?
It's crazy. 20 years ago.
That's... Yeah. I can't believe I'm still training, honestly. I thought I would have quit by now.
So the Brentwood, right? When I first came out here, there was like a little club, Brentwood Club.
Mm-hmm.
What was the situation with that? Like Renato Laranja, you know?
Oh, right.
Was
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you?
How did I even get involved
Just
with that?
random,
Cindy. It was
Cindy,
Cindy.
okay.
So Cindy had she had a connection to one of the owners, Brian. And then I think Brian and, I can't even remember his name now. It's bad. I think it was Scott. Scott was a David Dunn black belt.
Okay.
Or he's not black belt. Maybe he's a black belt now. I don't know. I'm a purple belt. They were. I don't know how they met. They were friends, and then I think they were talking to Cindy about opening up They just wanted to open up a school in the area because I think they both lived nearby.
It's just a place
Want
to
to
train, like a little club, and there was like no, it wasn't a business. It was just like, but it was on the main street.
It seemed like that was sort of the idea. So, they opened it up. They, Cindy referred me and Felicia for a little bit, and we just went in and trained. Taught some classes, and
Oh, so there was classes for other people.
there were some classes for other people, but it never really took off. I didn't really take care of anything on the business side, so I just showed up to teach. And
Who ran the place?
it was probably Brian and,
Okay.
and Scott. So
Okay,
I think probably
okay.
mostly Brian.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
interesting, Just looking back, I'm like, oh, what was the idea behind the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm not really sure if there was much of a plan aside from they just, you know what it was. Hegan had a school at Seneca's. Um, I don't know if you know the area well. It was on the second floor. It was a Taekwondo school over closer towards Barrington and Wilshire.
Okay.
And Hegan had a school there, and I think Hegan left to open up his. I think he did the new partnership. He's got the academy, the one that's in Beverly,
The Beverly Hills.
So I think he was leaving, and I think those guys had trained there, and you know they were just kind of like, well, we want a school to still train to, but
I
they
see.
didn't want
Got
to
you.
go
Okay,
too far.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that was the story. I didn't know them prior to.
Yeah, it's yeah. And then from there, you I was just thinking back. So you started with in Oregon, and then you started training with John Machado.
Yeah, John Machado. He was in mid Wilshire.
Okay.
So I trained with him for a few years, and then I eventually found some jobs. Finally, like real jobs, non sales, and it ended up being in the Valley.
Okay.
So I was in the Valley for a while, so over towards like Woodland Hills, right? And you know, I spent about a year driving down to train at John's, and it was just too much. Like, you know, gas was expensive, and
The time. Wow.
to drive was like an hour 15, hour 20, and you know, I just kept thinking
Each way.
about it. And there was Jean Jacques was right there, and you know, in towards the end at the time. So you know, I talked with John and told him, hey, this drive is killing me. You know, I'm gonna go. You know, is it cool if I go train with your brother? And then so, you know, I think around 2005 or 6, I went to Jean Jacques school, and that's where I kind of trained through, you know, the rest of my belts. So I was a purple belt with John, and then, you know, brown and black.
Okay.
With Jean Jacques.
Oh, cool. That's where you started to be like hang out with Felicia and stuff, right? Yeah.
Right. So me and Rudy trained at John's. So that's our connection. That's my connection to Felicia.
Yeah, Rudy Fishman.
Yeah. So Rudy, I don't remember. Do you remember Dennis Ash?
Yes, Dennis Ash. He had the Connection Rio, the hostel
Rio.
in Brazil.
He's
the
now
Jiu-Jitsu hostel
in Oregon.
In Oregon.
So it was we were kind of training together, and then there was you know, some other guys there as well.
Wow. Yeah. Me and Amal Easton.
Yeah.
When he was still in Brazil, it was cool. We got to go with our families and hang out, and you know, I think Gordo was still there as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Because I remember he was doing that for a while. He kept telling me to come down to Brazil, and
It was really nice.
I messed up. I never made it.
It was right by the Gordo school, and then also still just right in the middle of Baja in Rio.
So it probably was good business for him, right? He just passed it right on to Gordo to, you know, you could just drop in there and train, and
Yeah.
you know, you could do the Brazilian lifestyle down there.
Yeah. I think Gordo's now in Florida, right, with his brother.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Gorgino. Start BJJ.
Yeah, because Gorginio he was with Henzo for a while.
For a long
right?
time, yeah.
Yeah, I remember he was in New York.
And then he moved out to Singapore to run the Evolve Jiu-Jitsu program.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For some time.
Okay.
And then I think he wanted to come back to the West. So he started his school in Florida.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Singapore is different.
Yeah. And then his brother, I think, just because all the crime, Gordo, you know, all the crime, he wanted to get his family out of Brazil. And
yeah, they've had
start a new life.
Yeah, they've had a tough couple years there
In
Brazil.
In Brazil.
Yeah.
With with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on where you live, it's like kind of like here.
That's true. Yeah, and there was just all over the news. You can't really.
Oh, with the amount of people with COVID, right?
Yeah, just, you know, how it was, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to believe, who to believe, you know, with all the information wars.
Yeah, it's all out there. I mean, it's up to you to make up your mind on it.
Yeah. I went to visit a few times because I did some business, you know. So I went to visit a few times, and they had their lockdowns, and it was definitely a little bit crazy, you know. But man, the Brazilian people, they did these underground parties and like the restaurants, you know, like you had to walk in with a mask, but as soon as you're in the thing, you take it off, you know. It's just,
I mean,
Brazil,
it was happening here too, right?
Right.
So I think people want to have their choice of how they
Yeah.
want to live.
Yeah.
They'll find a way.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. What a crazy time. Cool. So then John Jacques Machado, you stayed there, and then how did you start teaching and those kinds of things?
So Jean-Jacques needed me to cover him one time.
Okay.
I think he had some other obligations to do. So I helped teach at the Inosanto Academy. One of his seminars, he teaches there, I think once a quarter or once a year. I'm not quite sure. He teaches there. And
Jean Jacques Machado teaches it.
Yeah, so he has kind of has like a connection, right? With Dan, he teaches him, and I think Dan has him there to sort of teach some seminars every so often. So you have his like guys traveling in, and and then I helped him cover, and then they were like, oh hey, what do you think about teaching here? And I was like, yeah, sure. I've never been asked to teach, but I need the practice, so but took the opportunity to give it a shot, and then that's where I met John Kosnick.
Okay, yeah.
He showed up one day on his Vespa.
On his Vespa?
Yeah, he had a Vespa, little helmet, and me like,
no way.
Who is this guy?
That's crazy. And then, so how many classes did you teach a week? How was the?
Oh, I only taught twice a week.
Okay.
They had just 2 jiu-jitsu classes.
Because the rest were like other.
Yeah,
stick
they had like
fighting
the
and
stick fighting. The Jiu-Jitsu.
Jukundo.
They had his Muay Thai. They had a lot of different kinds of Muay Thai there. And then some of the there was a shoe fighting. So yeah, it was an interesting school. Just kind of seeing the gamut of different types of students. I think you get used to seeing jiu-jitsu type students, and then you kind of you go somewhere a little bit more I would say structured.
Yeah. It's evolved a lot, from those years, right? Jiu-jitsu now.
Oh yeah,
A lot more professional. Back in those days, it was still Fight Club, right?
Oh, definitely, right? Back in the day, it was grungy.
90s was a whole other thing, but then early 2000s as well.
Yeah, and the 90s, I'm sure was probably even more gritty.
Yeah, yeah. Before social media and
before you start seeing all this stuff, yeah, right. The belt whippings and
yeah. It's cool. It's always good for me to hear. Like, just you made a huge impact on him, and he never stopped training because of it.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
So happy to see that he made his black belt. I was like, oh wow, that's like awesome.
What year was that?
Oh wow, 2008. I think 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he came in probably later 2009. I think I started teaching about 2008 there. Yeah.
And then Andrea, you taught at UCLA. So how did that piece?
So I was at the Inosanto Academy, and then there was an offer for teaching at UCLA.
Okay.
And there was some classes to be taught there. So it was at the time I just changed jobs too. So I literally work across the street from UCLA, and it would make the drive significantly easier. So,
cool.
Yeah. So instead of having to drive all the way to Marina Del Rey, I would go 10 minutes up the road.
And you would have your day job, and then you'd go in after after work,
and then ref on the weekends, right?
Ref on the weekends.
Ref
that
on
was
the
it.
weekends.
Used to ref all the tournaments.
Well, just the American ones, and I never cracked into the IBJJF ones. But yeah, I saw the OTM ones, right, with was it Scotty and Ryan Gregg.
Yeah, those were the grappling games, right? The on the mat tournaments.
Those are the Nogi tournaments. So I think they took over from Jean-Jacques.
Yeah, that was the first one he did, I think, because I remember Eddie Bravo was there, I think, and then Tyrone Glover, and then it turned into grappling games, right? And then on the mat, there was both of them together.
Yeah, so I remember the majority would be Nogi.
So it was Nogi.
And sometimes they'd have a gi.
But it was more heavy Nogi, and that was the beginning of Nogi Jiu-Jitsu, because before that time, there were no Nogi tournaments, right?
Yeah, I mean, all the tournaments I remember this will sound kind of bad, but all the gi tournaments were run by the Brazilians,
right?
And then people never felt they got fair handshakes there, And then so then they would be like, I'm gonna do the American Nogi tournaments because at least it's gonna
Be fair.
be a little bit more fair, right? But that was Wild West wild too, right?
Yeah.
Neck cranks, heel hooks, everything was like
Yeah.
everything was okay. I
Yeah.
think everything minus slamming.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it, right? It was the American movement. And they had some, depending on the tournament, they had some gi divisions as well, but it's very minimal compared to the
Yeah,
no
it
gi.
was always just a spamming of like just Nogi. Everything was Nogi.
Yeah, and you refed all those tournaments. You refed that was it. You were always there at the
Yeah.
tournaments.
So like Felicia, myself, Rudy, we refed for a bit. So it was like a run of years. Just every time there'd be a tournament, they'd call and be like, "Hey, do you want to ref? Like, let's go do it."
Yeah. You never refed IBGF?
I've never. I probably should at some point. I think should probably be a part of whatever something I should do.
Yeah. I'll tell you my story. I reffed for IBGF for a lot of years. I should say a lot of years, but some years. And the last one was the pans that they had in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And so I traded my, they didn't pay. They would trade your registration for the tournament to referee. And I think at that time it was like maybe 3 days.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It was
I
3
think
days.
I remember that. Yeah. Did they let you cut in line for the weigh-ins?
Right. That's another story, right? And I don't know if you remember Orlando, right? There was the lines in Orlando.
I've heard about it. I didn't.
Well,
I didn't compete.
It's funny because people have pictures of that day because we were in line all day long. Like now, like you show up on your tournament time and you compete. It's nice. You can tell people to come. Back in those days, it was just like you show up and then whenever it happens, right?
Yup. You cut weight. I mean, you cut weight.
And then you had the weigh-in the day before, and then you had the tournament the next day. So the whole weigh-in was a whole ordeal, and people that were in that line for those pans, like a ton of people, right, have pictures of just the line, people in the line, and like you look at everybody that stayed in that line for that whole day, like they're all black belts now, right? They're so invested, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Like so many people have that day, one of the days, right? I think it was maybe 2 years that they had in Orlando.
Yeah, I remember Dennis flying out for it. He was the only guy who I think was so dedicated. He was
To fly out to Florida,
to travel and go do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the grappling games, my story with my
Reffing story.
Reffing story. Yeah, so I could trade my registration for I wouldn't have to pay my registration to ref, and so I reffed 3 days. I stopped when I had to compete, and then I had to fly up. I flew out back to New Mexico that night, and I had to leave like maybe 2 hours early, to catch my flight and stuff. And they're like, no, you got to stay to the end of the day for us to credit you.
Oh, geez, that's terrible.
And then I was like, it's okay. It's all good. And I never did it again after that.
Yeah,
we're good.
I'm sure
we're good.
there's
Because you want to serve, right? You want to give back, and
you want to get back to the community.
That's it,
right? You're part of Baja, so I mean, though they say it's not the same team now, but back then it was like this was a Baja tournament.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can see. Yeah.
Just the jiu-jitsu community too, right? You want to be involved and you learn too, right? When you're there. And
yeah, I mean that was part of reffing. The best part of reffing was you get to see, like at the time, because OTM had like probably the biggest Nogi tournaments. You'd learn the newest techniques just by reffing. You'd get the front seat.
They had some good super fights and big names, right? The biggest names.
Yeah, there was some big. The big Nogi names came out, and I think they had like Monson for a while.
Jeff Monson, yeah.
Yeah, so they were, they had some ADCC competitors, and getting to see them live or even a chance to compete against them was always
ADCC champs.
thing.
Yeah. What were some of your matches that you remember?
I'm sure Jeff Glover talked about blowing me out, probably 50 some odd to 0. What other matches that I have? I mean,
not you, but just overall, like you reffing all those years.
Reffing, watching. I think Heron Gracie. I actually got to see him compete. He went against Rick McCulley. He was a guy from Philly.
From Philly, yeah. Balance.
Team balance. Watching them go was interesting.
You have a guy, Robert Miller from Philly. So we started out. He's all friends with with Phil and Rick and
Okay. Oh, nice.
small. It's a small community,
It's-
right? When you
even
really
though
break it down.
even though it's so big, it's still small. Yeah. Was a blue belt Ryan Hall showing us he could triangle himself. That's how flexible he was. Mark Lehman against, I don't remember his first name. Not Ciamento. They were making a big push to try to get him to ADCC.
Mark Lehman.
It was Mark Lehman, but not Ciamento. He was a Brazilian guy. He was big. He was jacked. Yeah, them two had a match. I remember like Lehman said he had like a cut on his back, got scratched, and he was like, the guy was digging into it in the middle of the match. I was like, oh my gosh. It's just like
everybody has nice rash guards now.
yeah, well,
back in those
back in the
days.
day, it was like someone's wearing, I don't know what the heck they're wearing. They're wearing like the fight shorts, or they're wearing no shirt, and then they had a
T-shirt.
T-shirt,
Old T-shirt.
Somebody's borrowing someone else's knee pad, and they're like, I got ringworm, and yeah, it's definitely there's definitely uniforms now. People are dressed nicer. The gis are not brown anymore. No more mix and match tops.
Better? What's the good? What's the bad?
The good is clean, right? Being clean is always good. I don't know. I can't really say there's anything bad with what's new. I think what's new though is, man, would you say like guaranteed promotions is a bad thing? I mean, it's a business affair, right? That you're doing, but
I think it's an important topic, right? Because we used to, if you're expected, if I come in for 3-4 months, I'm going to get a stripe, I'm going to get a belt. Like, nah, man, And so we discuss it with our coaches, and does that person deserve or not? You know what I mean? Like we take a lot of things in consideration, who the person is, right? Are they giving their best? But it's not guaranteed. And I think that's the way it should be.
yeah, merit.
You don't know. You don't know if you're going to get it.
Yeah, but there's some places I think there's just timeline, right? You just show up, you click as many boxes, and you're good to go.
Yeah, for sure. What's I going to say about saying the good and the bad? I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, the good and the bad. So the promotion thing, what else was
The pro athletes, I think, is a
level,
whole
right?
different kind of pro. I think I was talking to, the last time I competed, I think it was in Vegas. I went to Sunny Nahara school, and we were talking, and it was just like, back in the day, we thought we were pretty close to being like, pro jiu-jitsu guys. We'd go to, drive to tournaments, you compete, you do your thing. Man, these days, these kids are, they're drilling, they're on the mat
all day,
4
every day,
5 hours a day, and training 2 times a day. And, they're just at a different level. Now it's starting to pay.
Yeah.
So, that's always really, really good to see. More of these marquee sort of tournaments where they highlight, up and comers. So yeah, I think those are all good. Really, really.
There's just
positive.
a lot more activity now, right? A lot more professional events. Back in those days, there wasn't that much money, right? Not much exposure. Now they have flow grappling. They have different things, right? A lot of streaming things. So so you can get sponsors, and you can live from it.
Yeah, I mean, watching that is like, it's kind of amazing to see like how far you've gone, but how much further there is still to go.
Yeah. I remember now, you were talking about the ringworm and all that. I never got anything back in, it was the early days. It was the fight club days, I never got any ringworm or staff or anything.
Really?
Until I did my first MMA fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in there for like less than a minute, and I got both ringworm and emphysema.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, on my leg. And
Did you have a cut on your leg?
No, I don't know. Just got it there,
Oh, jeez.
That was the first time, and in all the years, it was already a black belt and stuff.
Yeah, I think
maybe I showered well after all my trainings and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been training for what, almost 20 years or so at this point. I think I've gotten ringworm 3-4 times.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's why it's important to have good hygiene.
To be clean. Yeah, that's always good. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, right? Everyone would just. I mean, I did. I mean, I can't lie. I did my share of of the nasty, right? Like I'd be like, I didn't sweat that much, so turn my gi inside out, stick it in the back of my truck, and be like, just gonna drive home in the sun. And then that night, I only had one gi. That night, you just wear that gi again.
Yeah. Well, in Brazil, right? I don't really have most people didn't have dryers in those days. So you would hang dry it, and so you don't wash it. You would maybe train in it like 2-3 times before you'd wash it. So you would just hang dry it.
Yeah, I mean, in the
Which
sun.
was essentially the same thing, yeah, right?
In the sun, it supposedly kills, right? UV kills.
But it has the smell, right? It has the
smell is there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big difference, right? It was just
I don't know. Maybe they say does the sun, does it kill the bacteria?
It should.
Right.
I mean, UV should, right?
UV, right?
Yeah. He doesn't believe it.
Moisture.
It's the moisture. No, but it dries out.
Bacteria.
Right, but it dries out, right? So you flip it like, I don't know, like I flip mine inside out and, stick it in the back of my truck. I clip it down by the tailgate so it doesn't fly off, and then you drive, right? You're in the sun for 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know.
I mean, everybody's so focused on training, right? You got to do whatever it takes, and sometimes you don't have time to.
Or you don't have enough gis. I mean,
Right.
you watch
Back in those days, even, right? What was it? 2000, like 2001, 2002, 2003. We didn't really have jiu-jitsu gis at those times, right?
Yeah, there was 4 brands maybe. I remember.
And they were made in Brazil, right?
And the one American one, Howard's.
Howard.
Yeah, I still
I
have.
I want to do a podcast
You should
with Howard.
do with Howard. Yeah,
He's been dropping those old stories on people.
Yeah, I mean Howard, he's got all kinds of stuff to tell you. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right, the Raw, all the stuff that's happening in Raw.
For sure.
Yeah, the Machados back in the day when he's training with them.
Yeah. Did you ever go there?
Yeah. I went to Raw a couple of times. Who was teaching? Andy Wang. Remember Andy?
Yeah, we hung out in where did we hang out? In Japan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this last time.
Okay.
We both competed in that Asia tournament.
Oh.
This is some years back now, but
cool.
and I think in China as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because he's living in China, right?
Yeah, he's living in. I did a podcast with him in Beijing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was during the podcast during the lockdowns.
Yeah, because he was in Taiwan for a really long time. I remember he kind of helped start up, Taiwan MMA or Jiu-Jitsu. And I swung by his school a couple of times, but, I think he had left at the time. And then, we met down back here, and I think he did some MMA fights. Was it Jamie's? It might have been Jamie's promotion, him and Brent. Pangea, maybe, I think he fought when he came back.
Oh, yeah, Pangea. Jamie Walsh's promotion.
Yeah, I actually watched a little bit of his with you.
Did you remember the Hein Gracie story?
No, I didn't get that far in. I'm so scatterbrained. What's the Hein Gracie story?
Oh, he went to a wedding, or was it a wedding or some kind of party with him, with Hein, and he brought a cake. And then halfway, like an hour in or something, or a couple hours in, once people started to eat the cake, they started like screaming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Let's go!" And he started laughing. Welcome to hell! And I guess there was acid in the cake.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Or something.
So it's like a prank.
I guess, yeah. It was, yeah.
That's not cool.
I guess everybody's that was at the party, It was, some people started screaming, and oh my god.
I mean, who knows how much was in there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Yeah, Jamie Walsh, so Pangea, Andy Wang. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. That was Taiwan. Yeah, it was Taiwan Jiu-Jitsu. So, when I go back there, I'll go and I'll go train like at his, I guess the school that he started.
What was the name of his school? Is it still there?
I think they've moved a few times. Now they have a Japanese guy teaching, Makoto. So, Makoto teaches the Taiwan BJJ. And then I think now that they have some black belts, they've sort of started splitting, and then people are opening their own schools. So it's good to see it growing internationally, at least too.
Yeah,
not just in the U.S.
Yeah. How was the situation in Taiwan with just all the world landscape and China and everything?
Right now,
Yeah.
I mean, they're still locked down. My dad just went back a little while ago, and I think it was 7 days in a COVID hotel, so you can't leave.
Okay.
Then 7 days, you have to go to wherever it is you're staying alone.
Okay.
And then I think after that, you have another 7 days where you can walk the streets and do everything you normally do except eat out.
You can't eat out.
You can't eat out. You have to take out and eat at home. So I think they're going through a surge right now too. So I think in the beginning they were doing great, not very many cases. And I think the same thing happened with China. In the beginning, they were doing the zero COVID policy, right? I think they're still doing it. And so it's in the beginning they were living life pretty normally, and they were able to kind of contain it. And it seems like maybe with Omicron, or maybe with them testing is a little bit late now. They're surging.
And how do they feel with I don't know, like just China's growing power, and like they're going to be run over, or I mean, it's taken over by.
They've been holding them off for years now, but who knows?
50 years.
Yeah, I mean, who knows though, right? I mean, the last time they were, I mean, that's why they were really happy with Trump, right? When Trump became president, he actually called them. I think he called the president Thai, and that's the first time an American president had directly called. I think maybe she called him and he took the call. It was something like to that extent.
Okay.
But yeah, it was the first time like an American like leader had actually acknowledged them as a country. But yeah, I think the Ukraine thing is probably unnerving, right? You watch one country just try to take over a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
That could happen. Right, so I'm sure it's they're on pins and needles as always. I mean, a few times in college when I went, I think they said China was testing missiles, so they were just shooting missiles over the island just to show.
I heard they're surrounding the island with just
southern China, right? I think in the southern China, like Southeast Asia, then they're just sort of they've sent out, I think military, right? I think like the Philippines is involved, Vietnam. I think they're just sort of, and everyone there can't really say too much.
They're flexing.
Yeah. I mean, and the rest of those nations just they can't do anything. They're just gonna overwhelmed.
Yeah, because they have like everybody says like it's like the main place for like semiconductors, right? Taiwan.
Yeah, a lot of there's like semiconductors and silicone. A lot of silicone there.
How did that happen? How did that?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
This little island like supplies the whole world, or manufacturers, right?
Yeah, they manufacture it, and I don't even know how that happened. But a lot of manufacturing is going on there, and I know like it's weird because like then in Taiwan they then outsource back to China, so then they just have like factories sometimes in China as well.
How does that work? Like they separated from mainland China, their own nation. But then you can fly back and forth. They can do business together, right?
They do the business together. Well, I don't think it's the people that care. People are just there to do business. It's the government, right?
But don't they regulate that?
Maybe if you pay enough money, they don't care.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why it's okay. I mean, it was kind of like Hong Kong for a little bit too, right? When they got Hong Kong back in '97, they're doing the two governments, one nation.
Right.
They kind of reneged on that recently. But they allowed Hong Kong to kind of run independently, and I mean they're an international hub, right? Over towards Europe. They do all their businesses there. Yeah,
not so much anymore, right?
Yeah, well, I mean between lockdown and yeah.
And then just always like in China, mainland China, like there's just so much like kind of like not fraud, but what do you call it? Dishonesty, like the business ethics, and like Taiwan is like different than seems like, from people that I talked to that, used to live there and, and did business there.
Yeah. I think the Taiwanese are more, I would say, influenced. So like, they're more influenced by the Japanese. And then, kind of like Hong Kong has been influenced by the British. Taiwan was a Japanese colony for a while. I think my grandparents' age, they were all Japanese educated.
Oh, wow.
It was like that was what they spoke.
Okay.
And that was due to I think Japan sort of colonizing them, and so I think they kind of took more lead of like sort of that culture was sort of kind of pushed onto them,
Okay.
and then so I think that's why it's a little bit different than probably China.
Mm-hmm.
So that's maybe I'm guessing that's maybe why the culture is slightly different.
Yeah. Yeah. I was supposed to go to Taiwan like before the pandemic, and the pandemic happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we could still kind of travel there because Taiwan was really good, but then they closed everything up.
Yeah, they closed the borders now. What were you gonna do there?
Attack fit certification.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were gonna go out with the team, and we had some guys representing and organizing the certifications, and yeah, they're
Okay.
really good to deal with. Yeah, organized, and
Okay.
they had a lot of connections in Asia.
I mean, what the tactic stuff is like. I mean, it just falls into jujitsu. So with the growing jujitsu, it's it's a good start, right?
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu is such a small niche, right, in the whole thing, but it's a lot bigger. But I love jiu-jitsu, so like I can't help but connect them both because it helps you, and
It helps in both ways, right?
yeah, it helps you in jiu-jitsu, and it helps you, and it's bigger than jiu-jitsu. It can help anybody just live a better life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the recovery things and mobility. And
Mobility, that's the big one.
just learning how to breathe, the structure, just all the right stuff that we all need to do to, recover from whatever we do, stresses and, life.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you think of the club bell when I?
That's cool. It's a little different on the swinging side. I think the balance is longer. I think kind of like you're talking about, with the connective tissue. I've only swung kettlebells before, so it definitely I felt more of a pull.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the traction is really important, right? And
it probably helps elongate and probably strengthens those tendons. I think it'd be I mean definitely want to go. No, I kind of want to curious to.
You got to come in
try,
and just do it 9 a.m. One of these
9
days.
a.m.,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe on a Saturday.
I'll see. Yeah, I'll see if my kid is gonna let me do that.
How old's your kid?
He's a year and a half.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
20 months now.
20 months. Okay.
Yeah. So
Congrats.
thank you.
Your boy?
He's a boy. So prior to this, that's why I was kind of telling you I needed to kind of figure out some times because I think he went to sleep right before I left.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens when I get home.
Is it during COVID, right?
Yeah. So he came in August 2020.
Okay.
So literally in the middle of
Middle
COVID.
of the,
Yeah.
How was the situation with the hospitals and everything?
It was okay. I think just everyone was masked up. I think at that point
Were you able to go to the hospital? And
I was able to go. I wasn't
Okay.
able to go to most of the checkups though. They didn't let
Okay.
me in. So it was just my wife.
okay, but during the birth,
The
and everything,
birth, I was
so
there, and
That's
then
good.
yeah. So
that's what matters, right?
it was that was
most.
the best part. So being around to support was good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, congrats, man.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
It's different. He's kicking my butt. He's not a good sleeper, not overnight. So
So are you training? You're training jiu-jitsu?
I am. I
Okay.
just started probably back up. I want to say like a month and a half ago.
Okay, good, nice.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to kind of see how things were going, and it seemed to be going in the right direction. So it's like kind of really really antsy to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been part of your life, right, for
Mm-hmm.
at least 20 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Over
so,
20 years.
Yeah, so it was good. It was good to get back on the mat.
Yeah, cool. Where you training?
So I'm training with Jason now over at the Meraki. So,
Oh, okay. Jason
yeah.
Hunt. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Nice, good.
So
Good.
yeah, I was I was training there a little while before pre-COVID. I was at Cobrini's right for a bit, or for a long bit.
So after Jean-Jacques, you moved to out of the valley to
I moved to the west side because then I
West
was
side.
working right by UCLA, and then
Gotcha,
that's where my
gotcha.
job's at.
okay.
So, I think that Cobrini had just come to town, so I was like, okay, let me see what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. So, started training there for a while, and then
So you met Uday there.
that's where I met Uday.
Mhm.
Yep. So we've trained there for I think 5
Uday every day. Uday all day,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. I mean, he actually kicked my butt, and I think right after I got my black belt, a couple years in, he was at Hollywood Jiu-Jitsu with Sean Patrick.
Sean Patrick, huh?
Flannery.
Sean Flannery.
Yeah, so it was a Nogi class. I think. I don't even know why I was there. I think I was just kind of checking out some schools, and I showed up. I think at black belt, I don't know how you were able to keep your motivation. But I was teaching more than I was training, and I was getting lazy, it's getting sloppy, just not. The training wasn't good. Uday was a purple belt. I think he was younger. He's doing his wrestling thing. Yeah, he came after me. Him and randomly that day, Clement Shields dropped in, kicked my ass too. So Jake Shields' brother came in and smashed my face up pretty good.
Yeah, so you moved out to West Side, and you UCLA, Cobria, and then you took a break.
Yeah, I took a break for COVID, like when
During COVID.
hit.
Okay, this last couple of years, yeah. And then you started to go to America a little bit.
So
Cool.
that's where I'm training now.
Cool.
It's close by, so
Cool.
the hours work.
Was Kenny still here when you started there?
Yeah, Kenny was still there when I started. Yeah, he would teach, I think, a couple days a week. Yeah, and it was him, and then Jason and Isaac Doderline was teaching there at that time.
Cool, man. It's awesome. Cool. What's next? What do you have any goals for your jiu-jitsu career?
Shoot. Maybe if I can start getting on the mat more than twice a week, maybe get back to a competition or two.
Okay.
But really, aside from that, nothing. Just keep training. Just trying to stay healthy.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that jiu-jitsu's given you?
I would say, I think pushing through when things are tough. Like when you think you want to stop, you can always kind of push a little bit more. And I think jiu-jitsu sort of helps you. It helps you with that, right? I think there's a lot of points when you're training, especially in the beginning, you hit a wall and you're like, I don't. It's not fun, and you kind of push through it.
Why didn't you stop? If for sure you've had injuries and things happen, right? Since you started white belt, blue belt, different belts.
The worst injury I had was I had one bad injury, not that bad. I think I fractured my clavicle. I was out for 6 weeks.
Okay.
But that was once in the 20 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
So no really really bad injuries. A couple popped elbows and popped wrists, sore necks.
So did you ever think about stopping training?
I think it just became a habit. I would, and it was a social gathering.
Social gathering,
right? Weekends would be like, we'd go to Higan Machado School, have a free open mat. So then like Cindy would be there, Felicia, Rudy, just kind of train, go eat some lunch, and wrap up your weekend. So it's, I think, big part of it was social
as well, huh?
Yeah,
mindset, the toughness, mental toughness to follow through, and the relationships.
Yeah, definitely the relationships, right? There's a lot of trust that happens when you train with someone, right? That they're gonna let go when you're, when I've had enough.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, it's so good to see you, man. After all these years,
great. Yeah, your school's amazing. Well, one of your many schools.
I'm not just here. I got involved with all the Gracie Boss schools, right, a while back, and 6 schools actually for a minute.
How was it managing all of that?
I didn't get into this thing to manage. I didn't get into this thing. I got into this thing because I enjoy the relationships. I enjoy the people. I enjoy seeing people grow, and that's my motivation. And once I realized, I was less on the mat and doing that kind of stuff, I was like, man, I'd rather do like something that makes more money. Like if it's about the money, because it wasn't. I thought it was good because you're making a difference. You're spreading jiu-jitsu and all that, and it's been good too. Like trust me, it's been great because we've had a lot of black belts they wouldn't have started if it wasn't for these schools. But it didn't make me happy to manage and those kinds of things. What makes me happy is being on the mat and seeing people grow, and it made me realize that. So I'm only in one spot now. And we just opened up the Pasadena gym I'm committed only to being here in Burbank
Okay.
forever, one spot, because this is a different thing, right? And it's nice because I can take my son over there twice a week to help, and I'm doing family time, and I get to see some of the guys over there because I spent like 3 years of my life over there as well, so we still have a lot of the connections and stuff from that. So I want to make sure they're straight and good.
So when you bring your son, you bring your son over there to train.
I bring him to he's helping with the kids class.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you his teacher, or do you have someone else teaching him?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So I have a bunch of great, amazing coaches and black belts, professors here that have been like mentoring them forever, and it's like when they were younger, it was like a little bit easier, but now like I don't know anything, so I just have to be really smart and clever. How they're all teenagers now, so I just I say things when I need to say it, but otherwise I just stay out of the way and let them do their thing, so it's their thing, not mine, and I never put any pressure, it's, I just make sure if they say they're going to do something, they follow through with it.
Okay.
And one of my daughters is like, loves competing and loves that part, and so she does all the tournaments, like everyone that we can do. If there's a weekend off, she's like, hey, can you find me a tournament,
Okay.
So it's pretty cool, because then I get to go with the team and
you're a competitor, right?
Yeah,
so
it makes me so happy because I get to kind of say my pieces that I to maybe help her be better, right? But also stay out of the way. It's like her thing, So it's pretty cool, just after all these years, just kind of see the the next my daughter, right?
Your next generation.
Yeah. We've had many generations, right, over the years. A lot of guys coming up and becoming good and black belts and highest level. So it's cool to have your own kid, right, involved.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm gonna take some notes on that because I want to get him into jiu-jitsu as well, right? And
all the Gracie, like the kids and people that have grown up with jiu-jitsu, they all say the same thing. It wasn't like hardcore, like pushing. It was all like playing. It was just playing.
But at what point did it turn? Like,
for my daughter, it was talking about the pandemic. During that time, like she was in drill team. She was in a lot of different just activities, and they would do jiu-jitsu consistently, but she wasn't able to really excel, right? Because
doing a lot of
things like drill team and everything else. And then the pandemic happened. They had everything closed except for jiu-jitsu, and so she started doing jiu-jitsu every day. And then she started to get better and better and better. And then things opened up, and there was some tournaments happening. And then she's ready. She was really prepared. And now she's like, she loves it, because it's nice to win, right?
Of course.
So it's nice because she gets a lot of love and support from our community, of course, from here and stuff. And her sister's really good too. But I just want them to get the benefits from the training, gold medals or not, I really believe you believe in the lessons learned on the mat, right?
Yeah, I mean, win or lose, right?
Character development, like you're saying, that character development that's helped you in everything that you've done in your life. The relationships, right? Lifelong friendships.
Yeah, a lot of good friends that you'll meet.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the work you've done, man. Helping people through jiu-jitsu. It's amazing to see, Andrea, talk to Andrea, and we call him Medium John Kosnick. And John, I think, wants to make this. He's going to move back to the East Coast, and he wants to open up a gym.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
he's going to be one of your affiliates.
Yeah, like Legacy,
awesome.
and out there, and then Andrea's like, she's like the manager here, and so it's just they're living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, and it's because like you doing your work, and it's grateful for doing good work, and they have good memories. You gave your best, right, to them.
I mean, that's what teaching is for, right? Like you always want them to be, well, I do. I want them to be better than me, right? I always want them to succeed further, move along further than wherever I've been.
That's a good teacher.
That's the hope.
Yeah. So thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, how can people find you?
You can probably find me on Instagram, I guess. Posting food pictures more than anything
Why
else.
food pictures these days?
because that's what I was doing over, I think, for the pandemic. It just,
You're eating.
just eating.
Cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, look forward to seeing you at tournaments and seeing you around at in the jiu-jitsu
Yeah, I'm
scene.
gonna start trying to get back into at least going to tournaments and you know
Yeah.
just kind of watching and seeing what the new generation has.
Nice, man. Thank
All
you,
right.
brother.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.